Hello, guys. Braxcast time once again. This is the 95th episode, and it's the first episode of the new year for 2026. And as I talked about on live stream yesterday, not really a lot of stuff in the news cycle for the Rippaverse. It's still the beginning of the year. A lot of people are just finishing off the holiday season. So I imagine it's going to be starting next week when we're going to actually start getting like announcements and things happening. And this is, pretty typical for this time of year. The very beginning, people have the first off, and then we went basically right into the weekend. So there really isn't too much in terms of big epic announcements. Of course, we didn't have an end of the year Rippaffilate. There's still two projects in the Rippaffilate that were supposed to release in 25, that being Sersha and Salvage, that did not get their collections released in 25. So I imagine those will be on the way pretty soon. But there's also going to be a lot of stuff fulfilling at the beginning of this year, quarter 1, 26. We're getting Blood Roof number 2, the 5th Rippazine, Great War of Separation number 3, which is probably going to be the first thing to fulfill, and then just a whole slew of stuff. And I think we're getting Detention Crew and those omnibuses as well. So there's just a whole lot of stuff for these first 3 months of the year in terms of fulfillment of collections from last year. So there's going to be a whole bunch of reviews. So it's not going to be like super slow where there's like nothing going on for basically once those fulfillments start happening. So look forward to that. But there is a pretty nice announcement. This happened yesterday. So there's a Rippaffiliate program. So Fear the Beardo is the first person who's invited to the Rippaffiliate program. This is for now invite only. There are plans most likely to have an application process, but this is basically like any sort of like Amazon does this. I know there's services like SoFi, which is a banking service, and of course Careers has affiliate links. I mentioned Amazon, but basically any sort of business that sponsors online, which is basically most of them these days, like a lot of VPNs will do this, where they'll have the YouTuber do an ad directly in their videos, and then they'll have this affiliate link where you get a slight discount, and then of course they get a little bit of a kickback. Fear the Beardo is the first person who's going to have an affiliate link. I'm not sure about any discounts, but I'm sure if you use this link, he's going to get a little bit of a kickback from that, and it's a mutually beneficial way of getting more people to buy the Rippaverse, and of course also supporting their creators. And since this is a much more, I'd say, creator-based than Marvel or DC or corporate comics are going to be, this is going to be something that fits in right at home. I haven't been invited to the Rippaffiliate program. I have not had anything from that. Maybe one day. I am a pretty basically a nobody in terms of my reach, so I'm not sure if it would make sense for me to be part of the Rippaffiliate program, but if I am invited to it, of course, I'll share those links with you guys. You guys can support me. But this is like the big announcement. And this is a pretty nice one. I definitely like the fact that they are doing this. Certainly am excited to see who becomes a Rippaffiliate. And then later on in the future, when this becomes a program that you can apply to, I'm excited to see how that looks and what that entails. But for now, it's invite only, with Fear the Beardo being basically the only person, to my knowledge right now, who is a part of the program, but I'm sure that's going to expand in the coming weeks and months. But like I said, really going to just speculate on 2026 just a little bit. Keep it very, very brief. This is going to be a very short episode of the Braxcast. So, of course, like I said, Great War Separation number 3 is going to be fulfilling this by this March, I believe, and we'll probably get the 4th one basically right after that. So I would be surprised if it wasn't by the end of the summer that we had Great War Separation 4, and that was completely finished off as a series. I will most likely speculate and say that we're not going to be getting Isom 4 anytime soon. I think Eric is going to be focusing on Sersha, Salvage, and Norfolka, getting those out rather than Isom number 4. So Isom number 4 might be a 27 gig. I do think we're going to get more Alpha Core in Horsemen, so we're going to see Chuck and Joe really focus on getting Alpha Core, number 3 out in a much more timely manner in comparison to number 2. And then, of course, there's going to be more of Horseman's story, because if you read number 2, the second issue of Horseman, then you know that there is a lot of stuff with Hector's story that really needs to be expanded upon and explained. Of course, we're going to get more Yaira. But Salvage and Sersha, I imagine, are going to be the first two new collections released this year, because there's just they were supposed to be released in 25, as I said, and I imagine they're still at the end of the process of them being ready based on that basis. So I would say probably going to be Sersha first, because it is a ongoing series, and that's the one that people seem to be more excited for. And it'll be Salvage later, even though I'll maintain I like Salvage's character more than Sersha. I love the character of John Salvage, and of course, I loved his story in the Rippazine, and we definitely need Lethal Force to really explain a lot of stuff that happened in that very first issue of the Rippazine. The short story of the Salvage really started it all in terms of these really epic short stories that we've been getting. And then, of course, there's just going to be a whole bunch of new stuff as well. We're most likely going to see that Gooding story from more Gooding from Mike Baron materialize. We've got like Delta Rune or Delta Base, if I'm remembering correctly from the Rippaverse. That's Mike Baron basically creating like a heal to the Alpha Core. That I imagine we'll see at some point this year. I'm not sure if it'll come out, but we might get like a teaser trailer. But usually whenever they announce stuff, like they tease stuff, it usually comes with the fact that the collection is coming out, usually a couple days, at most a week, but usually like a couple of days. It'll be like week of. So I imagine if we do get any sort of announcement for Delta Rune or Delta Base, I can't remember. I think Delta Rune is game. I think Delta Base is what I'm trying to remember. Mike Baron's story that, like I said, was created to be the heal to the Alpha Core. It was talked about in the Rippaverse that was done over a year ago at this point, December 27th, 2024. And it was just Mike Baron saying, confirm that he's doing more Gooding, and then confirming that this story. So they really don't have any more details other than that. So it's been over a year since that's been in production. And I imagine, well, if it's Will Conrad or whatever artist he's working with, has probably gotten through a good bit of that story in terms of getting those pages out. So that's really the big thing. But like I said, Great War Separation 3 is definitely going to conclude this year. We're going to get number 3 early this year, and then number 4, like I said, will most likely come out by the summer. I imagine we'll see more Sersha. We'll see Sersha, and I'll probably get the second issue of Sersha. We'll probably see Bloodroof number 3, that third issue release around Halloween time. It'll probably be a bit later than that. When we actually get it, but I imagine that collection will come out, late September, early October, maybe even the day of Halloween, but we'll be able to get Bloodroof number 3 for that Halloween season, because the delays for that were printing issues. So I imagine Montané is really chugging along at doing Bloodroof number 3, and Saskas are really good at writing. And we'll probably see more of a lot more stuff from the Saskas. So not just Yaira number 4, not just Bloodroof number 2, and then, like I said, number 3 eventually, but we're going to see more Cursed and Black-Eyed Club, since those are both part 1s. So I imagine those part 2s might be at the end of the year. They might even be into 27 with just how much stuff they're doing, because they might be prioritizing getting Yaira and Bloodroof. Definitely more so Bloodroof, since we only have that first issue, even though it is a 96 pager. Imagine the fans they're going to want to get number 3, number 4 out before they finish Black-Eyed Club. But we'll see with Black-Eyed Club and the Cursed how many parts those are intended to be. They might be like 3 parts each. And since they are a duo, it does mean that they can be a bit more productive than just like a singular person. But that's really basically all this base speculation that I have. Who knows if I'm going to be right or if I'm going to be wrong. But like I said, I think I'm pretty solid on Great War Separation. I'm also pretty solid that Salvage and Sersha are going to be the first 2 collections releasing this year. But who knows? They've done a lot of stuff that's come out of left field before. So we could get like an Isom number 4 just dropped, although I'm really skeptical of that. But keep following the Braxcast, and regardless if I'm right or wrong, I'll be covering all the Rippaverse news for 2026. Been going about this for, I think, almost 2 years now. It'll be 2 years this February. So absolutely wonderful time I've had doing this with all you guys. All the live streams really fun, and hopefully this 2026 will be just as fun and exciting, not only for myself, but you guys as well. But that's all I have for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Joker is out.
Thank you for tuning in to the Braxcast. Be sure to like, comment, follow, and subscribe to keep up with the Rippaverse.